we wanted to talk to you about dealing with redundancy and actually losing that structure in your day. You know, you go from. I think there's maybe some interesting points here, which was getting from being very well respected. Maybe you work in a big company, maybe you've worked there a long time. You're used to getting up, and on a Monday you fly to London and you sit with the MD and the other people on the board, and you've got this really important position and identity. And I listened to a podcast actually this morning, and there's a lot of mental health challenges in professional footballers when they stop being a professional footballer. They go from being Fred Bloggs, who plays for Liverpool, to Fred Bloggs, and they find and they're aged 38, 39, and they find it really hard. So in that example, you go from being a senior salesperson in a top tech business, and the next week you sat at home with no job.
Yeah, well, your job is a huge part of your identity, but this is a great opportunity as well to kind of sit back and think, right, what's next for me in life? Because in those 5 years that you've worked as a senior manager or whatever, you may have got married and you've got children, so your life might be in a different place. So it's then time to think, right, well, what's for me now and what do I really want? Maybe you want more of a work-life balance, or maybe you've got divorced and you're single again and you think, right, well, I want to travel, I want to join, some groups, I want to do charity work as well as my job. So it's kind of exploring things as a whole, because your job is only one aspect of your life. So it's making sure that everything else is in balance as well. Yeah. Like your finances, you're seeing your friends and your family, you're looking after your well-being. You might be doing some charity work. Maybe you want to travel. So it's making sure that your life is whole and you're not just focused on one thing that's your job. Because when that is taken away, that's when you feel like this huge gap. So that's what we do in the life coaching process. We look at everything as a whole, so that you so if your focus is on one thing, is that affecting other areas of your life?
Yeah, I think that leads quite well onto my question for you next. So I know we focus quite a lot on people that are sort of out of work or actively looking.
Yeah.
I was thinking, successful salespeople, they're often high achievers, both inside work and outside, and they've got loads of activities and family life and other things on the go. What would be your tips for balancing a busy job and a busy life?
Yeah, well, again, a work-life balance is unique to everybody, so there isn't like a one-size-fits-all with it. Yeah. So it's making sure your life works for you and you basically feel happy and content with everything. So if you've got a family, maybe you want to make sure that you leave work on time, so you get home and you're spending quality time. Yeah. Maybe you want to work flexible hours. So there's different things like that, and then it's just making sure things are not encroaching on your time as well. So it's learning to say no, not being afraid to say no to things, not having work events on, planning your diary right every week as well. So I always say, look at your diary on a monthly basis and a weekly basis. Don't be just putting random things in. Look at it as a whole and think, oh, actually this is overwhelming because I've got family things going on, and I've got all these work events and things happening. Yeah. So it's making sure that you look at things, as a whole.
I have to do that now with nights out. I have to plan them, and I think, oh no, there's too many nights out in that month. I'll be too not hungover for the month, but drained for the month. I think that's a sign of age. But I think
it goes back to your well-being though, again. So making sure you eat right, you're getting enough sleep, you're getting enough exercise, because that's going to make you be the best version of yourself and perform at 100%. If you're not getting all of those things right, that's when it slows you down and you're being ineffective as well.
You make a really interesting point, which will resonate with a lot of the people that will listen to this who work in sales, in that particularly the big corporate businesses. I suppose in any tech business, the demands of the market and the demands of that role can really take that equilibrium and throw it in favour of work. So you've got to be in London tomorrow, then there's drinks after work on this day, then you've got to be in that meeting, then at weekend there's the winners club, because you're doing well at work, you get invited to, and sometimes it's an environment where you can't say no, you feel you can't say no, because I've got to show my face at the winners club, it'll look bad if I don't, and before long, you miss the kids' pantomime, you miss the sports day, you miss your anniversary, and it sort of snowballs. And you can therefore see why. I think quite a lot of the people in our industry do have quite a challenging personal life, in that they may be divorced or separated, or they may not see the kids as much. And that must really impact. That must be really tough.
Yeah.
Especially back a little bit to that point we said before about suddenly that rug gets pulled and you're redundant. So that whole thing breaks down.
Yeah, but I think with your time as well, if you are being invited to all of these things, is make sure that you protect your family time or your personal time in your diary.
Okay.
And it's making sure that, you know, you do get to your yoga class or your HIIT class every week, and have a plan B if you couldn't make it on Tuesday, there's another one on Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's protecting that time in your diary as well. And it goes back to learning to say no.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe have like, you know, a date night with your partner in the diary, so that's fixed, or a day out with your family if you've not seen them properly for a few weeks, to say, right, on Saturday we're going to do, you know, such a thing, and then they've got that to look forward to and they're feeling quite loved.
And just place more importance on personal things and organisation as well. I think that's the key thing, because I'm not naturally an organised person. But I think since, you know, working in recruitment, which does have similar aspects to sales, my diary is like so regimented, it's colour coordinated, and I stick to it to the T.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
On what you said, James, about, you know, lots of people who work for big corporates, maybe their work-life balance is slightly, you know, leaning towards feeling obligated to spend a lot of your time at work. Do you think then that's a case of the candidates needing to qualify the individual kind of hiring managers and who they're going to be reporting into? Because, you know, even within these huge corporate structures, there will be hiring managers that they themselves will just say no. And actually, no, I'm not going to stay for that meeting because I'm going to go home and pick my kids up. And therefore that they'll have that kind of lenience when it comes to managing you.
I think it does help, doesn't it? If, from what I've seen, if you've got a manager, the person you report to also maybe has a family and you've got a family. The person you report to is also in their 40s or 50s and doesn't have a family and therefore lives a life in a different way. They can say yes to a whole bunch of different stuff. That's always going to be a clash if you've got somebody, and you might see it yourself in your social group. I've got mates now, I'm in the dad club, they've not got kids. I'm getting asked out, not on a date, but by them, do you want to come to the pub, do you want to come to the match, do you want to come to the cinema, do you want to do this? And I'm always saying no, and I feel quite bad, but that's because I know my life is going in a different direction. Doesn't mean I can't be their mate, but in a work scenario I can imagine that being quite pressured, especially maybe if you're new in the company, you want to make a good impression, but then equally I guess you've got to be true to yourself and stick to, this is me, I can't be something I'm not. I can't come out on all the nights out and then once I'm settled in the job you don't see me again. I think you've just got to balance it.
You've got to start as you mean to go on. And I think also you've got to make sure that you make time for yourself every day, even if it's just 15 minutes just to sit down and do nothing, or you know, read a book or listen to a podcast or just have a soak in the bath or whatever. But it's making sure you have that downtime for you every single day.
Cool.